Greetings, fellow Toastmasters. And we have a guest and our viewers at home. But this is a guest that is returning guest. Delighted to see him. Why don't you stand and give us your name and tell us what brought you to Toastmasters tonight.
Yeah, my name is David, and I remember being part of it about a year ago, sometime last year, and then my family was moving here and kind of got busy with life, studies, and so many other stuffs. And then now it's kind of actually things are settling down, so I thought this would be the right time that I need to come back to Toastmasters. So that's why I contacted Jean, and I'm back here.
Great. Good to have David here. Let's see. It's also nice to see Hudaifa back after his holidays. Let's give him a round of applause. Thank you. Yeah, okay. I don't really have a lot of announcements. We may have a little bit of comments at the end. Let's see. So, Peter, I changed table topics to 15 minutes. Did you see that I hacked in?
I saw
Did
that
you
somebody
speak?
had changed it, but I didn't say.
I hacked in.
Because the meeting, are you talking longer at the end?
Well, it's just that you have me doing closing comments at 9 o'clock, and we usually don't.
You usually do
can't
them at
stop
2 minutes to 9.
Well,
Anyway, I just thought you.
okay.
Okay, so if you want it to be 15, 15 it is.
I just wanted you to be impressed, like, who got in there and changed that? And why did I say my... I was watching tutorials on Easy Speak, you know, and it's like a little knowledge is a dangerous thing.
And she's showing off now.
I just, Peter's gonna show me what I need to do. I'm just being, trying to be, what is it? Perspicacious.
Because on mine says 20.
Perspicacious.
Okay.
Yeah, no, it is 20. I changed it to 15 and Peter changed it back to 20 because he thought maybe there was probably a bug in there. He didn't know it was me that changed it to 15. I just want to make sure that we end on time. So,
Okay, that's fine with me.
okay. So we'll bump it back just a little bit so that we are ending on time. With that, we've greeted everybody, we're set. I'm going to go ahead and call up our Toastmaster for the evening, Carmen Anticona.
Carmen, I am going to be the table topics evaluator tonight.
Okay. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters, honorable guests, viewers at home. We have a quote today. It says, "The world as we have created, it is a process of our thinking. It cannot be changed without changing our thinking." And this one was by Albert Einstein. That's really nice. Makes sense, right? So I'm gonna introduce the role players for today. Our timer is Jean Symington Craig. Could you please introduce the role?
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Tonight I will be timing various portions of the meeting and letting people know where they're standing. First, we'll start with prepared speeches. We have a special module tonight, and let me just see, Dan is at 10, okay. So this is a 10 to 15 minute speech. I will be turning on the green at 10 minutes. I'll be turning on the yellow at 12 and a half, and I'll be putting on the red at 15, and he has 30 seconds to finish up after that. I'll also be timing table topics. Table topics are 1 to 2 minute impromptu speeches. I will be putting the green on at 1 minute, yellow at 1 minute 30 seconds, red at 2 minutes, and then you have 30 seconds to wrap up before you are disqualified. I will also be timing the evaluators. We have one evaluator, and no, we actually have two evaluators. Evaluations are 2 to 3 minutes. At 2 minutes, I'll turn on the green. At 2.5 minutes, I'll turn on the yellow. And at 3 minutes, I'll turn on the red. And you have 30 seconds to finish up at that point. And I'll give a report at the end of the meeting. Thank you.
Our grammarian for today is
Yes. So the grammarian, so we listen carefully to the language used, any good or poor use of language, keep track of tongue clicks and things like that, and give a brief report at the end. And I'm listening for the word of the day. The word of the day is baloney. It's not something you put in your mouth. It's actually a word. It means foolish, nonsense, deceptive talk, and I put a little political bent on this. Iraqi war vet Tammy Duckworth, you all know who she is, said Donald Trump fake bone spurs is baloney. I'm quoting from the vet, not mine.
our accountant for today is Kudaifa.
Thank you.
Okay, sorry.
Silence your phones.
Well, so here's the thing.
You're the different.
I am the exception because I'm the club contact, and I'm leaving it on because I don't know if someone's gonna be down there
Yeah,
trying to
Janet or
get
something.
in. I mean, all the members are here, but I'll turn it off here real
Put it
soon.
on buzzer?
I haven't always heard it.
It's all right.
If you have a smartwatch,
I'll turn it off by
vibrate.
8 o'clock. By 8 o'clock, it's almost there, so I'll turn it off.
Okay, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for this introduction. As an accountant, I will be watching your filler words. If you have any or in extra unnecessary words, I will be counting all these and giving report in the end of the meeting. Thank you.
Our general evaluator is Aaron Russell.
Do I have to say something?
No.
I didn't think so.
Later, you say, we'll hear from him later.
We'll hear from him
She didn't exactly with the question mark. It was a question, it's not
later.
a
Right, it was a question.
Russell.
I am the evaluator. So I'm going to read the objectives for today's speech. Our today's speech is from Dan. Tonight Dan will be giving a presentation on mentoring, which is one of the successful club series of models developed by Toastmasters International. The successful club series is a set of presentations addressing the subject of quality club meetings. Through these presentations, members will learn about the skills and standards they must strive to achieve for the club to be successful. Mentoring discusses how having or being a mentor can benefit club members and the club as a whole. Dan has been a member of Golden Speakers for about 8 years. He has served in a variety of officer roles for the club, including Treasurer, VP of Education, VP of Membership, and now the President-elect. The title of his speech is Mentoring. Welcome, Dan Craig.
Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, honored guests, viewers at home. Tonight I'm going to give the Toastmasters presentation on mentoring. We'll talk about mentoring as it's done within the Toastmasters setting. We'll also cover some of the qualities of a good mentor and of a good mentee or protege. And we'll talk about the benefits of mentoring to a mentee and also to a mentor and to the club. As I begin, I want to first explain the origin of the term mentor. Homer wrote the Odyssey about 800 BC. In his poem, Mentor had the responsibility to teach Telemachus the values of adult life. Telemachus was the son of Odysseus, who had to leave to fight in the Trojan Wars when his son was still an infant. He asked his good friend Mentor to serve as the father in his stead. So now 3 millennia later, we still use the word mentor to mean someone who shares knowledge, imparts wisdom, and encourages action. Mentors can be found everywhere, really. Think about your work. When you began your career, was there someone who gave you advice and information, who helped you figure out how things got done? Think about your education. Was there a teacher who took a special interest in you and turned out to be especially important to your educational experience? If we have some time later in the meeting, I'm going to ask if anybody wants to share an experience of being mentored. Probably all of us could name at least a couple of people who fill that important role for us. For me in Toastmasters, my mentor has been Jean. It's very handy. She generally will listen to at least one of my draft presentations, gives me feedback and ideas, and they're always better as a result. In my earlier life, I had a high school teacher named Mr. English who taught me how to write clearly, logically, so that I could express my ideas properly. And that has had an effect on my life ever since. Let's start by thinking about what a mentor is. A mentor is a person that takes a personal interest in and helps a less experienced person. Serves as a role model, coach, and confidant. Offers knowledge, insight, perspective, and wisdom. And he helps someone else become successful. Generally, the experience is also that the mentor learns from the relationship also. One of the most important things that a mentor can do in a Toastmasters setting for a new member is to ease the transition for them as they begin coming to Toastmasters meetings. Generally, the less experienced member comes in, doesn't know much, and the Toastmaster can just say, well, these are the educational programs that are available. These are what the meeting roles are about. Just generally explain how things work in a meeting, what the club standard and customs are. With that information and with some good give and take between the mentor and other members in the meeting, a new member becomes more at ease, develops confidence as a result. And because of that, they tend to participate more. They're more comfortable, they've gotten to know people, they want to dive in and enjoy the club experience. It's also part of the mentor's role to help that new member as they begin learning to speak, to listen to them practice, to give them feedback on how speeches can be organized and delivered. A mentor could also be important for an established Toastmaster member. Maybe there's some aspect of speaking that you'd like to be stronger in, humor or organizing the speech. And there's probably somebody in the club who's particularly good at those things. That person could become your mentor and help you develop skills more thoroughly that you probably already have to some extent, or even give you some new skills. As I said, in the mentor-mentee relationship, the mentor also benefits. And one way that the mentor benefits is that the mentee has a different perspective, different ideas, fresh ways of looking at things that the established member can now incorporate and enjoy. A benefit to the mentor is that they continue to use their skills and knowledge as they mentor. And there's a great value of doing something for others. There's a great satisfaction to be had in a situation where a more experienced person imparts knowledge and advice and then gets to enjoy seeing that mentee bloom and become successful as a result. The mentor is going to naturally receive recognition, generally from the club as a whole, because people appreciate that that mentor is helping others in the club. And the mentee, of course, will be grateful for the assistance too. Now, for a club, there are several ways that mentoring is beneficial. We've been talking earlier about how a new member is made more comfortable. When that happens, then the new member naturally stays. The club membership grows. Members are more satisfied because they know what to do, when to do it, and they plug into their path of growth most easily. Satisfied membership means higher retention. People want to come to Toastmasters to learn, progress, grow in accomplishing their goals. And when there is mentoring being done to where everyone helps each other, that naturally will create a higher member retention. There are many qualities of a mentor that you could name. Here are just a few of them. One important one is that the mentor is available. In almost any mentoring situation, the Toastmaster would want to dedicate at least 15 minutes a week to the mentee. With a new member, probably quite a bit more at first. A mentor should be patient. Different people learn at different speeds. So the mentor has to be aware of that and giving the mentee whatever they need. Sensitivity is in regard to being careful with the new mentee to not, or to only do and say things that encourage them so that they realize they are growing, they're succeeding. Respectful is in regard to confidences that may be shared. Flexible just means that the mentor realizes that he or she is different than the mentee and from other members. People do things in different ways, and you just have to be able to adapt to that. There are several steps of mentoring in Toastmasters. They occur at the first meeting, the next meeting, and then over time. At the first meeting, it's very valuable for the mentor to sit with the new member and say, this is a prepared speech. This is an evaluation. These are table topics. Just so it's clear what's being looked at. Give the new member more info about how things are done in the club. A mentor can explain to the mentee how to sign up for speeches. Here's the Vice President of Education. How to sign up for club meeting roles. Who to talk to if they are assigned a meeting role and they can't make it. And the icebreaker is an important part of the mentoring experience. Most Toastmasters think that the icebreaker is the hardest speech. You're speaking before a group that's not comfortable for everyone. And even more experienced speakers are speaking in front of a group of strangers. So the mentor is there to help allay fears, to give advice, to give suggestions for topics or what the organization of the speech might be. Then at the next meeting, the mentor can make the mentee aware of the resources available. Toastmasters Magazine, the Toastmasters International website, the Pathways program online. Positive feedback is very important. The first few weeks are critical. So that the new person needs to realize that they are progressing. The responsibilities of the club aren't always clear to a brand new person. The mentor needs to explain that Toastmasters is not just giving a speech and getting evaluations. There's also a responsibility to the club, to the other members, to assist them in their goals. And then help with speeches and other assignments. If the mentee is assigned a meeting role, the mentor can explain, this is how it goes, here's a tip for how to do it. With speeches, can show the mentee how to incorporate evaluations that they've been given. Listen to the speeches, give feedback directly. All in terms or with a goal of having a good start. And then over time, it's good for the mentor to share with the mentee what goals and aspirations they were trying to accomplish and how those had been met in Toastmasters. Invite the mentee to other events, speech contests, district conferences. Continue to acknowledge progress, always important. Explain officers' duties and let the mentee know this is something you could do and grow in leadership skills. Explain speech contests at the club level and on up. Describe the organization, the club, the area, the division, the district, international, and how that new member fits into the organization. Mentees should have certain qualities in order for the relationship to work. Eager to learn, receptive, open to new ideas. They should just be thinking of it as a chance to learn something new, to be open to assistance and feedback from the mentor. Loyalty is, again, regarding confidences that may be shared. Gratitude is fairly natural, that the mentee will feel gratitude to the mentor and other members for assistance. While the mentor-mentee relationship has a commitment, requires some time, it doesn't last forever, nor should it. The purpose of mentoring is to teach the mentee to think and to act in an independent and successful way. Once they've progressed enough on their own that they're able to function effectively, then the mentor is no longer needed. The mentor could find another mentee to assist. That former mentee has gained in skills and knowledge and may then think about mentoring someone else. I'm going to read a quote from Toastmasters magazine. The author was Dana Lamont, DTM, who was the world champion of public speaking in 1992, about the benefit of mentoring in a Toastmasters club. He said, "The day a club stops growing is the day it begins dying. Likewise, when a member stops growing in his communication and leadership skills, it marks the beginning of the end of his Toastmaster experience. The opportunity to mentor a fellow Toastmaster is an opportunity for both the protege and the mentor to grow. The quality of the club depends on a mentor's ability to spot opportunities for growth and to encourage it." In conclusion, I'd like you to think, whom could I help learn new speaking and leadership skills? Or who might be able to help me learn new speaking and leadership skills? The mentor-mentee relationship is a relationship that offers many opportunities. It offers many challenges. It gives many rewards. I'm asking you to experience for yourself. Benefit from the skills of a mentor. Then become a mentor and share those benefits with others.
We have 2 minutes to evaluate the speaker.
I should have been timing this, yeah.
Which speakers qualify, Jean?
The speaker qualified.
Which speaker? Oh, the speaker.
Yay.
Okay. I should give my evaluation right now, right? It is.
Call it the general evaluator.
To call you.
Oh.
Mr.
Yeah.
Castro,
General
you guys-
evaluator, Aaron
He's
Russell.
going to conduct that section.
Oh, okay.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. At this point, I would like to invite Carmen, our evaluator, to evaluate Dan's speech.
Dan, this speech was really helpful. Was really interesting. I was just stuck watching the visuals here because I just wanted to grab all the information that you gave. It was so easy to read, so easy to understand, and thanks God I was sitting here so close. The purpose of this speech is just to be clear about how the speech is conducted in the purpose, in the definition, and the benefits of the mentors and the mentees. The purpose was, it was well defined for you. I really like the examples about work, teachers, and personal events that you gave us. The definition was a really nice introduction to the whole continuous speech and the body of the speech. Also, it was well organized. It has an introduction, a body, and a conclusion. What I really like it was that how the club benefits, because you mentioned a couple of points that are really, that you don't even think about it, but it's really what it makes the club grow more. The positive feedbacks, as you mentioned, are critical in the first few sessions, because if someone tells to you, you know why you don't speak a lot of good English, or your pronunciation is really bad, something like that, I just don't come back really. And so it's something that it has to be really, people has to be just friendly, and something really like it's the sensitivity of the new members should be taken into consideration. As you said, it's really critical. I really like the Toastmaster magazine, the quote that you gave us as an example at the end. It was a part of a really good conclusion. There are always something to improve. And one of those was, we need more corporal movement in the stage. This stage is all yours. So even though if your visuals are here, you can stick walking a little bit and then, yes, present something here. Or when you say the humor is also good, you can even make a joke about it. And also more drawings or figures in the visuals will be really helpful. And after all, it was a great speech, and I think it'll help us to all of us. Thank you.
Oh. Thank you for that, Carmen. Now I would like to call call up, we'll begin the table topics portion of the meeting. So I'd like to call up our table topics master, which is Veda.
Veda.
Good handshake that time.
I'm trying to get better.
You have to make this good.
Good evening. Today our topic is change. Not spare change, not drop change, simply change. Now last week's word of the day was about change. This week we have a word which is absolute baloney. The proper word of the day should have been metamorphosis, which we had last week, which was within the theme, which we are repeating tonight. Metamorphosis, like a caterpillar going into its cocoon to become a butterfly. Tonight I'm going to do a slightly different job. Everybody's ears perk up. I'm going to put out the topic and whoever grabs it quickly, otherwise it's gone. It's whoever grabs it quickly, because they're all about change, but because not all of you are going to have the experience that I'm talking about, the first person who grabs that will get that topic. So get it while it's hot.
Can we think about it?
No. No, the first person who
I know, I'm just.
goes up is going to be taking it. So if you've had that experience, please speak up quickly because you'll lose it. It will not come back. Okay, the first topic is tell us about a major career change. Anyone for a career change? D. Come on up. I will read the topic in full. Tell us about a major career change and what events led up to that.
Okay. Thank you, Table Topics Master, fellow Toastmasters viewers at home.
And no green light.
Oh, sorry.
So I had a career change as an accident. I was riding my bike along up on Skyline Boulevard near San Jose, California, just riding along real slowly. And I started to come down the hill. I don't know if you've ever been there, but you go from like 2,000 feet down to about 500 feet. You're going down swiftly around curves, and you have to be careful not to run into a tree or a truck or car coming the other way. Well, I kind of lost my perception for a moment, and there was a truck coming right at me. So, thinking on my feet and thinking about what might happen to my body, I quickly slid to the side of the road. Problem is, just after the side of the road, there's nothing there. Fortunately, there was a redwood tree there that's about probably 20 feet around. Well, the redwood tree saved my life because I slammed right into it. However, when I stood up, my shoulder was right next to my ear. Right, now I didn't feel any pain at the time because I was in a little bit of trauma, you could say. If you ever had an accident like that, this is not baloney I'm talking about here, this is a real thing. You know, you're in a state of shock, so you don't feel any pain, you're kind of high in a way. The next thing that happened, I know I was in the hospital in Mountain View, California. And you can see from this shoulder here that it never really healed correctly. It's still bent a little bit. So years later, I've been having things done on my shoulder. I've had stem cell therapy, I've had blood platelets pressed in. And now I'm fine. Everything's okay. I'm up here giving a talk, I don't feel any pain. And Toastmasters, viewers at home, thank you very much.
So Dee, I'm assuming from your story that led to a career change in becoming what you are today,
Right.
a Pilates instructor. Okay, great. So we've heard about a career change. Now, please tell us, anybody had a life-changing event Example, as an illness, a life-changing event such as an illness. Going once, going twice, going 3 times gone. Tell us about a moving experience, someone who moved to Fairfield from somewhere else. Just about everybody has done this. So, who does it?
Toastmasters, sorry. I'm just burning. Our honored guests and viewers at home. 7 years ago, I was looking for a new opportunity outside Jordan. I never thought about this opportunity. All I looked at either the far north or far east, New Zealand, Australia, Sweden, Norway, and then by one of my class or colleagues sent me a link to Maharishi University. He said, just apply. And that was in the end of February 2013. I applied, I looked at that university and they said, yeah, it's near Chicago. I said, okay, Chicago is a good place, so near Chicago should be some nice place. I applied. I didn't take any serious step up after that. But I think next month, they sent me an email. They said, yeah, you are approved or accepted. This is your I-20. You can go and apply for a visa. At that moment, it was almost May, beginning of May, and they said you have only 1 month to join the program. And for the US visa, probably nobody of you know, you may know.
Yeah.
Nobody guess how long it takes. It could take 2 weeks, it could take 3 years. So I just applied, and in the interview, it was very short. My son helped me when he was disturbing in the embassy, so it was very short, and we got the visa. But the surprising thing that I got the visa, my wife got the visa, and my son did not. They forget to send his visa. So when we moved here, I had to move alone, and then they followed me 2 weeks ago. The most thing that surprised me here is it's not fair. It's not near Chicago. It's about, in Jordan is the most distance in Jordan is shorter than from here to Chicago. that was weird. Mr. President.
Thanks today.
Yeah.
Okay. Skip that one. Okay, we're going to go back to school. Let's try someone who had a change in major. Once, twice, 3 times gone. Okay, so going back to school between grade school and high school, or junior high school, or high school and college, a transition. Anybody who has a public education, we'll go with Jean.
Yeah.
Jean, going back to school, between grade school and high school, or high school and college, or a transition, tell us about a major change, transition or move from one school to the next level.
Thank you, Mr. Table Topics Master, fellow Toastmasters, and honored guest. In high school, I was a cheerleader. I was usually in the top classes, but not too top because being popular and being smart were not necessarily the same thing. So I learned how to not be quite so smart, because popularity was more important. This is a bad thing, by the way. I was on the tennis team. I found out in my senior year that we basically had groups in our high school. There were the rah-rahs, the greasers, and the hippies. When I was a senior, I was going through transition and I was becoming a women's liber. So I was very much aware of the issues that were happening. This was the early 70s with women's inequality and women's rights and what was happening here in this country for that. And it was a shock. So in my own little space, I was starting to become more radical. But on the outside, I was a cheerleader and I was a rah-rah person and I had all rah-rah friends. But I was becoming disenchanted with them. But I made the decision, I'm not going to rock the boat until I get out of high school. So I would be doing cheerleading and I'd have this look on my face like, do you believe this? You know, like, isn't this ridiculous? And I kind of was not too good with that. Once I graduated, I crossed the line, I went to Duke. Freshman year, I had long hair, I had my wire rim glasses, you know, little recreational pharmaceuticals, I wore jeans, I went to school, I went to class barefoot all the time because you could do that, so I never put on, I just went completely the opposite way. And it felt so freeing to do that. Thank you, Mr. Tate.
Well, that's a revelation. Underneath this stern exterior, we've got a budding hippie person who's just waiting to be let out of the bag. On that topic, is there anyone who can tell me about an epiphany? Epiphany. Are we on the last topic, or we have one more, or is it gone?
Your
Unless
president.
somebody seems inspired. We've reached the time, but
Okay, so unless someone has an epiphany, we'll wrap up the topics. So thank you for that, and I'm going to ask the timer which topics qualified.
All of our speakers qualified. So that was Dee, Hudaifa, and myself.
Take a minute to tear off a vote for the best person, and I will collect those. So all the votes are in, and because of the interesting way we're conducting the meeting, I'm going to hand control back to the general evaluator, Mr. Aaron Gissel.
Thank you, Mr. Table Topics Master. At this point, we have the Table Topics evaluation, which will be conducted by Stouffer.
No, actually.
Right? Isn't that's what it says?
Well, I got changed when I came in here, so I don't know what's going on.
Oh, Peter. Oh, Peter Armstrong.
Our speakers tonight were all interesting and on topic and gave table topics good examples to hold up for future generations who may never hear them but will hear about them. Dee's speech, what events, I've got to read my writing here, led to career change? Dee explained the accident that he had involving a redwood tree, a bicycle, and a downhill ramble. Explained what happened. You started well. You gave a clear description of the accident. We sympathized with your plight at the end of the accident. And we were all going, yeah, okay. And if there was something that I would approve, could be improved, it was that we didn't hear explicitly what the new career was, because you didn't quite mention that. Many of us know that you are a Pilates instructor and made that leap to the fact that that was your new career, but we didn't hear it directly from you. As a stretch, you could look to have a little movement and not just totally glued to the lectern. Udaifa, moving to Fairfield. Everybody has a moving to Fairfield story. Yours was interesting. You tied the beginning and the end very well together with Chicago. Because the minute you told us at the beginning, yeah, Chicago's right near, when we said, yeah, right, I don't know, what's he going to do when he finds out? And it was an interesting story involving family and things that worked, things that didn't work. I'm trying to think of something to improve. I'm having a little trouble, but I do that. I have trouble thinking. I guess I'm too easy on everyone. So we're going to have to work on that a little more with my mentor. I'll have to find Colonel Grouch to help me with that. Jean, you gave us clear descriptions of your before and after states and told us how it played out. I liked both of your personae, actually. They were both interesting. The cheerleader who, I could relate, the cheerleader who was not quite as rah-rah as she used to be. Did your coach ever, I won't ask what your coach, cheerleading coach, told you about that. Again, I'm having a little trouble coming up, possibly because I wasn't watching you carefully. And maybe I could have said, well, you could have come over here when you were the rah-rah cheerleader and over here when you were the barefoot flower child. And that is my report. Thank you. All right. Somebody has to shake my hand so that I can leave. Who is that?
Oh, is it me again?
Yeah.
Yeah,
we got you
I
to
suppose.
Wait, what am I?
You're the general evaluator, but
Yeah.
they put you in charge of everything.
I think it's because we have this big thing, evaluation section, and so people thought, oh, well, then it's the general evaluator,
Well,
but it's not always.
You finish off the meeting to the point that the Toastmaster comes back to give the awards.
Oh, okay.
Because next is your speech, among other things,
Okay.
or your evaluation of the evaluators. There's another one
That's
here.
next?
So. Well, you look and see, but I think it might be.
Table topics. Evaluator. Timer. Which speakers qualified, and then general evaluator. Okay.
Okay, so then you call for Jean.
Oh. What's that?
Evaluator qualifications.
Oh, that's what it is. Yes. Well, Jean, which evaluators qualified?
How about the table topic speakers first?
Yeah.
We've done
We
that.
did that.
Did that?
Yeah.
All right,
We did
good.
that.
Okay, so then.
Which evaluator is qualified?
I know.
She's trying to fight me.
Yeah,
You can read.
I actually, never mind.
Jean's got 8 years
Passed.
of experience
I know.
in Toastmasters.
That sounded pretty arrogant, didn't it? Oh, I'm being told to stand up. Stand up. Okay, both of our evaluators qualified.
Vote.
And then name the evaluators and vote.
2 minutes.
So
Oh,
it's Carmen and Peter, and we need to.
okay. So vote on which evaluator was the best. Evaluator.
the reports.
Oh, reports, okay.
Who's next?
So Jean, you start us off again with the timers report.
Good. Our speaker for the evening, Dan Craig, 15 minutes, 12 seconds. Table topics, D was 2 minutes exactly. I was 2 minutes and 13 seconds, and I flubbed Hudaifa because he was actually over by 6 seconds, but I didn't say it. So, it's on the timer. But anyway, that was your time, so a tad over, but that's all right. And then the evaluators. Carmen was 3 minutes, 17 seconds. Peter was 3 minutes and 20 seconds. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Timer. Now we'll move on to our grammarian, Peter. Oh, D. Stover.
No. Oh, yeah, you were.
Yes.
Okay.
D.
You can change it.
D.
But I was down as a table topics evaluator. Okay.
No, but you're
No.
the, you
I know,
remember the
I got
Milani.
I got baloney, right?
Yeah.
I don't know, I'm confused. I was playing through roles. Okay.
What happened to that one?
So I'm the grammarian.
Last month?
Yes.
Right, right,
Yes.
right. Well, everybody was great. Everybody did great speeches. I didn't notice any repeating of words or tongue clicks with anyone.
That's the odd counter, just
Oh.
so you know.
I'm sorry, I'm confused. I was supposed to be this.
Any creative usage of language?
Yeah.
He used it.
Yeah, I liked what Dan said about his quizzical turns of his head, his emotional context. He started off by defining the concept of mentoring and gave lots of examples. Good body movement, and gave specific points and referred often to the screen here to make points. Okay.
Was there any particular language that you liked? Because that's really what you're doing for us, the grammarian, is just language that you liked, or things.
I liked, he used the word mentoring often. I'm sorry, I'm confused. When I came here, I was supposed to do something else.
Yeah.
And then the word of the day.
The word of the day, Hudaifa used the word of the day? No.
You.
I used the word of the day and someone else used the word of the
I
day.
use the word of the day.
And Jean.
Jean used the word.
Yeah. And that's my report.
It makes me hungry.
Yeah.
You took my
Oh,
sketch, no,
okay, yeah. Sorry, go ahead, take it.
thank you, D. Next we have our odd counter, which is Hudaifa.
Okay.
Then you had one tongue click, one Xerox, and one false start. Carmen, she had one 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 end. D had one. Myself, I had false start. Jean was clear. You are clear. You didn't say anything. Peter had one up. That's good report, I think, for today.
Yes.
We do not have. Yeah.
Thank you for that, Hudaifa. Next we have our joke master, which is me.
All right.
Okay.
So given the topic tonight being change, I tried to find some jokes that were related to the instigation of change. I found one that was pretty interesting from George Carlin. Didn't even think of it for a second. He says, "I once put change into a change machine. I'll never do that again. Nothing changed." Or $1 into a change machine. That's what I meant to say. I like this. I don't know if we have any Star Trek fans in the room.
Oh, yeah,
Otherwise,
for sure.
this might go a little over people's heads. for those that don't watch Star Trek, but it says, change is like the Borg from Star Trek. Resistance to it is futile.
Yeah.
And finally, I like this one a lot, especially in our political climate. Politicians are like diapers. They should be changed frequently and for the same reason. And now we will move on to our general evaluator, which is me again.
He's got the moves.
Yes. Carmen, you were our first evaluator for Dan's speech on mentoring through the Toastmasters program. All of the bases were highlighted for your evaluation. You reminded the audience of the objective of the speech, started with the positives. You gave suggestions afterwards as well on ways that Dan could improve. And something I always like is you were smiling, very warm and welcoming to Dan. Had a bit of a humor behind your voice that made it, for us as well as I'm sure Dan, to listen to you give him suggestions and positive feedback. I think that's really key to be able to make the evaluatee feel comfortable. I think one thing I felt in particular with your evaluation is I noticed that you spent a lot of time on his speech content, which I believe in this case, your speech topic was given to you, Dan, is mentoring. I think you commented a lot on his speech topic, which I believe a lot of it in the PowerPoint was already given ahead of time. Is that correct, Dan? And so maybe focusing a little less on the speech, the how do I put this? The speech itself, the topic that he spoke about, maybe more how he presented it, talking more about that, giving specific examples would have been more helpful. And some more specifics of the positives. You did list a lot of positive things that Dan did well, but maybe some specific examples. And for an example, you did do this with something that you had suggested he improve on, which was more movement. You gave him a very specific example of, even though it is a PowerPoint presentation, he could still move around the stage a little bit more, and you showed him how to do that. And if you had done something similar to that, showing rather than telling with the positives, I felt like that would have maybe added more, showing Dan things that he did well. But besides that, I think that your evaluation was very good. Peter, your table topics evaluator. Again, you covered all the bases. You gave the positives. You tried to give the negatives, and you once again were smiling, very very warm and easy to listen to, and made the audience and the evaluatees feel comfortable. You gave really specific examples of what the speakers did well, if they used the speech well, or if they had a really concrete topic that they were talking about. You gave very specific examples on things that they did well, and I'm sure you're going to know what I'm going to say that you could do better. But coming up with better suggestions for the evaluatees would be a lot better to make sure that they can continue to improve in their Toastmasters career and come up with ways to improve their speaking ability. But overall, excellent evaluations from both of you. Thank you. Oh, now, do I do the awards?
You turn it back over to the Toastmasters.
Now I'd like to welcome back up Carmen and Takono.
So I'm going to announce the awards for today's meeting for the best table topics. It's Jean.
Thank you.
And the best evaluator is Now we are going to welcome one more time our beautiful president, Jean Symington Craig. Oh, you
Well, he's not yet. He's not
I
yet.
see.
We'll have to call him beautiful though too.
July, right? Is
Yeah,
that-
July. Thank you. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Good. Well, this was a rousing meeting. I really liked Dan's mentoring module, And I don't know if anyone is interested in being a mentor. David, you sound like you're gonna be joining July, if we haven't scared you off tonight.
Yeah. I believe so.
So we can implement our new mentoring skills with David. And speaking of David, since you are here as a guest, although you've been here before, but it's been a little while, and we're in a new spot. So we are gonna put you on the spot. Would you stand and tell us, something you liked about the meeting?
I mean, I kind of like most of it. But the one that I like the most is about the mentoring. So in fact, I started taking notes. Initially, I was sitting over there and trying to relax and just watch, and said, okay, let me take the benefit of being guest. And later, when I kind of actually started listening, that caught my interest so much. So I started writing all those points, and that was very useful for me.
Good, I'm glad you caught it. Yeah, very good. All right, well, since we talked about membership maybe in July.
Yeah.
We can give you an application and you have a little time, and we talked about what you could be doing
Sure.
between now and then. And our new vice president of membership will be Aaron. And we can, right there, was
Give
I
me some
pointing
time.
at
I'm
us?
still getting
you're
familiar
fine.
with the name,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, we could actually use a little practice, right now we're transitioning old officers to incoming officers, outgoing officers to incoming officers. And so, we like your practice. So we're really glad you're back.
Sure.
Yeah, all right, thank you. I'd like to mention, we do have our celebration coming up on July 2nd. You'll be a member, so you can come.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask, do we want to open it up to get the family, the other half, children, like that? We actually have done it like that. It does make the number bigger, so.
It's gonna be at Janet's house?
Mhm.
There it is.
It's not just a question of asking, it's just a question of if the number of people is under like 20 total, it's gonna be fine.
Yeah,
And I think we have such a small club right now.
yeah.
I'm just saying, I'm familiar with their space.
Yeah, good, and I'm not, so good. So if we had, if everyone brought one person, and then we had a couple of little ones, a little one. You have one little one or
Well, I
two
think
little? Two little ones. Basically, yes.
Anyone, you have kids? I don't think anyone else really has
No.
kids.
Well,
that
or a
would be-
spouse,
Well, I'm just saying, like, he would be the only person that would have kids,
right.
because your son's older, and, I mean,
Well, he could be your date. You like to bring your son for dates, don't you? No,
What day is it?
July 2nd.
July 2nd.
It's a Tuesday. It's our regular meeting time.
He's working.
He's working? Oh, okay, so he can't be your date.
Also, it depends on
Because-
the content of the party. Is it a party or are we doing a Toastmasters meeting and a party?
It's a blend, it's a celebration, it's a Toastmaster Club celebration, so it's not just woo-hoo party, but it's,
I mean, we allow guests at our meetings anyway, so I don't really know why.
Right. Good point, Aaron. So
Well,
any guest can come.
no, we haven't really done it like that. This is more like, you've been in the in crowd, you've done the work, you're here, and if you happen to be related to one of the
Yeah,
members,
I mean,
Yeah.
then you can come, but we're not just opening it up to.
oh, sure.
Oh, no.
I mean, I was
anyone who wants
They
to.
was
can
only
come,
gonna-
they just can't eat the food.
only gonna invite my wife. And,
Yeah, okay, so that's I forgot about that when we talked about it. Is that okay
Make an
for
open
people?
Facebook event. Just
Yeah.
throw it out to everyone.
Yeah,
Fairfield.
yeah, exactly.
Then we move it to an event,
Hmm?
and we have speaker.
So what we're gonna have, the officer induction, which is not, it's just a little officialness that we do. And then we're gonna have some sort of interesting table topics to keep all those juices flowing. But it's mostly just to socialize, we're gonna have pizza. I do wanna ask, Carmen and Janet are on the food committee. I'm just trying to ignore that they're the women, and they're on the food committee. Because guys eat food too.
But we can,
So,
but other people can bring things.
well, that's the idea.
There's a
That's-
potluck, but tell,
Do we have a
tell Janet or
checklist
Carmen.
of like?
Well,
But
that's,
don't everybody bring a pie, you know?
No.
Well, I think that's why
So
we
here's
could
the
have
thing.
like a checklist.
do you know what you want to bring right now? Let's just do a little bit of this. Okay, so there, good, so we're off and running on that. Let's go ahead and close the meeting. We are on for next week. Do we have any speeches? Anyone stepping up? You're out of town,
Oh, yeah, I won't be here.
so I can't do this important one.
yeah,
because you need to hear it.
I'll do my icebreaker next week.
Okay. Okay, 3 times is the
Fool
charm.
me once, shame on you.
This is it,
Only
okay.
because Aaron's out of town and he won't see
Okay,
it.
do you know how to sign up for it in Easy Speak? No. Send-
I might.
Peter and I are gonna work, he's gonna train me tomorrow. You could send an email, just, what path you're on and what the icebreaker. All right, but I need to get everyone cleaning up, and so our, Dan can get stuff put together. So, great, so we have a speech, icebreaker. Thank you again. Meeting's adjourned.